Hello and welcome back to the LTA! Week 2 of playoffs kick off in the Riot Games Arena with 2 more best of 5s on the agenda for this weekend. Today, Dignitas take the stage after fighting tooth and nail to qualify for this playoffs. With top laner Srtty's first ever playoffs appearance, they're working to make it a win. And their opponent, Team Liquid, dropping from the upper bracket and looking to run the lower bracket once again. With an experimental 6-man roster, Coach Spawn and Yuuji look to prove this experiment can yield results. With elimination on the line, only one team will continue through playoffs. TL versus Dig starts right now.
Man, I am so excited for this one. Elimination matches always have that much more tension in them. And you know, there is so much pressure, especially on the Team Liquid side. After losing to Cloud9, Spawn is here in person. The scrutiny has been very real for this team that has lofty aspirations.
Absolutely. Team Liquid were the Split 1 winners. So they're trying to defend that title. They now need to win 4 best of 5s in a row, starting with this one. So even though they are favored, I'd still say they're under a bit more pressure here because Dignitas has much lower expectations from the public, and they're coming into a team that had just been swept by Cloud9, so we'll see how they play.
I will say if any team can handle the pressure, it's going to be Team Liquid, though. They definitely have the experience on that stage outside of Yuuji. That's the only argument you can make. He is starting here for Game 1 as well, which is following that trend, Kobe, that they're put Yuuji in for the first couple of games and look to Umpty later on in the series.
Yeah, it feels like they just break the emergency glass and put Umpty in when they're on match point, basically. So I feel like they do the same thing here. You know, they keep Yuuji in. If they lose a couple, then,
honestly,
then
I really
maybe
want
we
to
see.
Because we talked to Spawn after 2 games when they put Umpty in last week, and he said, this is according to plan. In scrims, we play Yuuji
We
in the
planned
first
on
2
losing
games.
2 games.
No, he said, he actually said they play Yuuji games 1 and 2, and then Umpty in game 3.
Regardless.
No matter what.
Okay.
Regardless
So
of how
we're going to test if that's not true this week.
All right, well, let's catch up on what's going on in Pick and Ban here for game number 1. It is best of 5 Fearless, so this is the only time we'll get these champions on stage today. It's Taliyah, priority for Team Liquid. No surprise there. APA does love this champion. And over on Dignitas' side, Varus and the Rumble.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting where people feel like you have to ban Vi, and so then you either have to ban Taliyah or ban the other jungler that goes so well with it in the Pantheon. And so a lot of teams now are opting to double ban the Vi and the Pantheon since, yeah, you're probably going to be first picking that Taliyah on their side. And they don't want Yuuji to have either of those, but Yuuji just goes for the Xin Zhao anyways. It's still a good pairing with it. Very good skirmishing options here.
Yeah, Ornn to most likely match the Rumble. I really like...
Oh!
Hey! There's more than one Braum in here.
What's the strongest muscle then? He's flexing. Yeah, he's flexing the arms right now. I imagine that's it. Yeah.
I really
Great
like the Varus Rumble as a 1-2, though. I think it just offers strong laning and strong team fighting. It's if you're going to be able to get red side 2 picks in your first Fearless game, hard to do much better.
It's the Azir hover right now. Keine expecting to lock that one in. Classic matchup. There it is. Yeah. So range between the Azir, the Varus, Rumble providing more AP damage as well, but they don't quite have front line yet or hard engage.
Yeah, no surprises so far as the power picks going through. And also, honestly, to me, with Team Liquid having the philosophy of we need to have impact on these more comfortable champions for him.
Yeah.
You know, talking to him a little bit before the game,
yep.
He was like, yeah, you know, I was always, you know, so good in playoffs and stuff when I was playing a lot of stuff that would basically play for the team, you know, teleport in or be a frontline or something like that. And so they're going back to that definitely a lot more. But looking, at the bottom lane, some of the extra comfort picks here being banned out. The Jhin that has really risen in priority.
Yep. I'd also say as a longtime Ornn enjoyer for Impact, this fact that internationally we've seen Ornn more often as a answer into Rumble, I just like him more than the Sion for him. Like, he's an okay Sion player. I think he's a great Ornn player.
It is more engage options for Team Liquid as well. Like I said, we haven't seen that quite yet for Dignitas. They're going to be locking those in afterwards, but they won't get the follow-up AD carries. Things with range like the Jhin, like the Ezreal. And it's Braum banned away on Team Liquid side. They get one more ban here.
So, like you're talking about for Dignitas, they're kind of eyeballing the support kind of counter picks where the Alistar and the Rel both have lots of good CC there. The Braum being banned out early does open up more of those melee matchups to not like getting countered by having the Braum pick answer. So we'll see what they opt for here to bring that structure to the Dignitas side of the matchup. Looks like they're going to grab Mr. Sheiden's champion first here, the Skarner. Yeah. Even though Xin Zhao is good into the Skarner, we have had a lot of junglers second picking this into it and just playing for the team and just really valuing the CC that Skarner brings for these team fights and making good on the picks. Plus, if you're playing versus TL and you do expect Umpty to come in later in the series, then, you know, taking the Skarner away early on for Fearless here, then
Umpty won't need a pilot.
If Umpty does come in, then he won't have as many of those options.
I think the biggest thing is they're just really valuing the front line and also the support counter pick because they have Varus already, who's a bully laner to begin with. I was expecting the Kalista for Team Liquid since it did go through the ban phase, which is relatively uncommon with how good Yeon is at it, but just having that support counter pick for the bot lane when Yeon and CoreJJ have been the strength of Team Liquid for the majority of the split, I think is a smart choice.
Yeah, Yeon's piloted this champion 3 different times already. One of the more prevalent Kalista carries, and Renata to pair with it. No huge surprise there, but it does give counterpick to Isles now, who on red side, Dignitas putting a lot of faith in that he can kind of bring this composition together.
Yeah, and then, of course, the Nico is already banned out a long time ago because TL used it as a flex pick, but a lot of times you will use double poke bottom lane. So they're going to go Rumble bottom lane. They swap Rumble down there, and it does have a lot of damage early on. So also pairs with that Varus to be a very aggressive bottom lane to go right into the Kalista Renata. This is exciting. Isles said he thinks that Yeon and CoreJJ are the best laning duo in all of the LTA. He gave them that respect. And he also said that they'll be able to deal with CoreJJ if he tries to go for any invade.
You know what else Isles said, Kobe? I actually chatted with him ahead of the game, and I asked, what about your thoughts? What are you trying to accomplish versus CoreJJ? And he said the Lion does not concern himself with CoreJJ. I think the Rumble's definitely filling that role here. You know, he's more focused on Yeon, of all things.
So I love that Isles talked to you with that level of confidence through text before the game and was super humble when he talked to Kobe.
The duality
with
of
words on broadcast. So you never know what's under the surface with these players.
All right, as coaches come up to the stage here, Dignitas take on Team Liquid. A bit of a David versus a Goliath when you look at what these teams have accomplished in recent memory. Dignitas have not finished higher than 5th since 2017 summer. Team Liquid have not finished lower than 4th since 2016 summer. That's a long time for both of these teams. A big record for each of them. Dignitas trying to stop both of those records here today.
Yeah, Team Liquid has been on quite a run over the years in terms of being considered a top org in the LCS, now LTA North. Got to see how they can continue here with Impact on his classic Ornn pick and Yeon on Kalista.
And I got to say, for the top lane matchup, being a highlight for a lot of people, since Impact has had a very rough split here, Srtty, everyone always talks about, oh yeah, but he's so solo queue focused. He's a red side counter picker. Well, he's a red side counter picker in this game. He got the Gwen counter pick into the Ornn here. So this is going to be a real test of those storylines here. Can Srtty bring some of his red side counter pick solo queue focus to this matchup?
Eyes on Srtty for this game number 1, but we actually got a sneak peek at his opponent Impact's pregame ritual out on stage before Champ Select. Let's see what's going on here. So he's putting
The water banana peel.
Wait, okay.
Is it Saratoga water?
There is actually a banana there.
Yes.
Now, did he like lose a bet, or is this real? I actually don't know if this is part of his real pregame ritual.
This is not AI. He did this. We don't know if he wants to do it. Though.
Okay, the slow-mo. Wow, the slow-mo as well.
But it is real. Even though the morning routines are super memey, and everyone's doing the morning routines now, having cold water shock your system does actually release adrenaline, and so bring him some extra focus. There we go.
All right,
is awake.
If we get to game 5, I'm going to request 3 bowls of ice water up here on the caster stage.
I'm down.
I took a cold shower this morning. I'm just saying I've already been through it. Don't need to do it twice. There's only so much adrenaline in your system.
Well, as we catch up on the early game here, I like that we highlighted so much about the faith in Srtty that Dignitas just drafted here, doing the Rumble to support, putting Srtty on this counter pick. That means that a lot of pressure as well on the top laner in his first playoffs appearance.
Yeah, I really like it too, because I feel like Dig has really lacked an identity throughout most of the split. They played so many different champions, but have not found that much success. If you're going to pick an identity for Srtty, it would be something like this. It's not putting him on tanks and hoping that he can have mechanics. It's not playing lane swaps. It's trying to find matchups that he can abuse and keeping him in those matchups for as long as possible. So, yes, he's going to win this lane most likely a little bit early, but we need to track how quickly does Yeon and Core swap up to the top lane? How soon do they make him start playing the map? Because you don't want to have Srtty in a long-term lane against Impact's North.
Yeah. And honestly, even though it is, counter pick versus Impact, a lot of people still have faith in Impact, clearly, with the All-Pro voting. Even with the super rough split that Impact has had, he was still third-team All-Pro. And it just speaks to the longevity of this player. And people feel like they know the history and the quality that he still presumably will be able to bring in playoffs for the team. And the bottom lane, that's just straight up because this team is almost always the win condition is Yeon and CoreJJ.
Yeah, I had Yeon and CoreJJ maybe unfairly, but on first team of my ballot, just because
that was crazy.
When they did win, they were dominating. Like, this was the lane that was performing and almost willed Team Liquid to the third seed. I thought had an off split. I know Impact had an off split, even though he was still strong in team fights, and I know APA definitely had a much weaker split than he did in 2024 summer. So, Team Liquid, at their peak, we know they've all been able to perform, and it's good to see that they're getting some recognition this split as well.
Yeah, and even this bot side getting shoved down here again. Yeon and CoreJJ push in the wave. You were asking the question of when will we see them go for a swap. Team Liquid, one of the teams that gets their bot lane to that top side very fast, even post the lane swap meta.
Yeah. For this one, I would probably say they would want to do, if they did, after Dragon, because this TL lineup that we've drafted here definitely should be looking at some Dragon priority. They've got a Xin, and first one is always available before the level 6s come in, so the Skarner level 6 that you're kind of worried about sometimes, fully locking people up isn't really that big there. And Kalista Renata early on should definitely want to play towards it.
And there's also no need to swap yet. We had Yuuji get double crab. Impact is completely fine in CS. The Skarner has been caught out by Vision. They got a ward onto his Krugs. He has no river control whatsoever. So Team Liquid's fine just keeping these lanes standard because of how well they're going.
And they're flashing forward. CoreJJ looking for the slows. Rend as well. Handshake back. Tomo could be in some trouble. Used the ghost earlier. Isles had to use the heal as well. So Dignitas bot lane get out of there. Aggressive play from Team Liquid.
Yeah, bottom lane pressing here, and they're going to be able to push in. So since Isles and Tomo also cancel their recalls, you have to expect Zhao kind of come over to this side of the map. Team Liquid, let's see if they get their early recall for Yeon and CoreJJ. While CoreJJ did use his flash, Yeon still has both summoner spells there, so I will feel fairly confident. Here goes the swap, though. The teleport comes in for Impact. They're going to try and keep up the pressure here.
He might be able to interrupt. Doesn't quite get vision of them.
Yeah, he would have to use Call of the Forge God as well. But he will see that Sheiden's on this side of the map. We had talked about maybe Team Liquid prioritize Dragon, go for the swap afterwards. They are sending on top side, but Core is still hovering around near the Dragon right now.
Yeah, Core's trying to make some type of play, but it's actually just 3 full lanes of priority right now for Team Liquid. APA shoved in. Impact was able to get TP first, their bot lane recalled first, so it's really hard for Sheiden to even get on the map. So they can actually take this Drake while sending the Kalista top lane because they had so much tempo on the map.
Yeah, I like this a lot from TL. They had CoreJJ just walk out mid as support from his resets, come over for a little bit, make sure they can secure it, and quite nice for the team overall, as well as Yuuji. Fairly efficient from Yuuji early on, and this is something that people have highlighted with him coming onto the team. I find it very interesting that when we talk to a lot of the players, well, as he might go for a gank on Keine here.
Yeah, nice sidestep from Keine, getting away from the unraveled earth, and uses the shuffle to get Yuuji underneath the turret. He tanks up 2 turret shots. First blood to APA regardless.
Nice by him. Stays in, gets the extra damage, and then can flash over the wall. He didn't panic as soon as he goes under the tower.
Also, Impact was just there somehow as well, so he's doing great in the Ornn versus Gwen matchup, but we're just going to watch this one more time. The fact that he's level 6 makes him a lot more confident to go all in onto Keine. The fact that he sidestepped forward puts him in range for the UGW, and then just enough patience that he gets the damage as Keine ease into Yuuji. Ornn ult helps a little bit as well. That might not get the kill without Impact's ult.
The little bit of damage, I actually agree. So well done, well coordinated by Team Liquid, trying to capitalize on Keine. Now flash down, APA still has his. Yes, they traded Yuuji's flash for it, but I still think APA feels really good about getting the kill as well.
Yeah, but to get back to Kobe's earlier point, the discrepancies between Yuuji and Umti, it is interesting how, like, Yuuji, even though he's considered maybe more of the carry player, is the lower variance player. He's the guy who is more likely to farm, more likely to have a large experience advantage, because that's actually what you need to carry, whereas Umti's the guy who's going to help lanes more and play riskier.
Sheiden actually running away from Yuuji there. Does not have the backup of his mid laner. We also saw bot side Srtty use the needlework, so no ultimate on Gwen.
Also worth noting for Yuuji, like the timing of that gank, all his camps were down. He had full cleared and he had gotten dragon.
It's perfect.
So he's like, all right, my timing is perfect. We can go for something mid. It is actually successful, and he can just chain neutral objectives here. After pushing Sheiden out, Grubs easily picked up.
And I'll say also that Yuuji, he's doing so well early game. This is one of the games that we don't see CoreJJ just at his hip the whole time, hand-holding and making sure that he's able to get that lead. Like, they were playing the 2v2 more so than focused on Yuuji, and Yuuji's been getting this lead himself.
I agree to an extent. This is also a game where Team Liquid has just been winning every lane.
Yes, fair.
So it makes a power farming jungler's life a lot easier when you can always see where the other jungler is. This
I hear
might be
jungles like
Sheiden
that.
fighting back, though.
Yeah, Sheiden is going for a gank bot side. Impact flashes away, gets to safety.
Yeah, good flash. He had just killed all the minions, so he's able to reset, kind of go wherever he wants from here. It's been a very ideal early game for TL, not getting punished in the Ornn versus Gwen matchup, having permanent shove with Yeon and CoreJJ, and then the one lane where they wouldn't have permanent shove, that's where Yuuji got the gank off to burn the flash from the Azir.
And to be fair, like the Gwen does need some items to really start get rolling. You know,
Yeah.
Once we see a couple items come in, some power spiking going on.
Do we have an idea of when? What items should we?
I mean, you at least want a Rift Maker.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd say if you get to 2 items is when you should start winning, but by that point, if Impact hasn't been shut down, he's going to have like 250 MR.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a lot of magic damage on Dignitas' team anyway, so obviously Impact is going to want to stack that magic resist very much here. As Tomo, misses the Chains of Corruption onto APA, sidestepping around, and Team Liquid dodge a little engage there.
Really risky position there by APA. If he doesn't sidestep that, I'm pretty sure he's dead for sure and would have given that kill back. So I think Team Liquid dodged a bit of a bullet there, but because that was a 2v4 and they held the zone, it's just going to give them more time to make their next play.
Seems like they're just trying to set up the vision around Dragon right now. 1 minute and 15 seconds until that's back on the Rift. So getting vision down now means you can just control that more easily. But Yuuji actually has his eyes set more topside here. He's hovering by Impact just in case there's something, but we'll decide to back off.
All right, bottom side, they're also getting their recall off there for Tomo. And he only had to use his Ghost, so he'll be fairly safe even on returning to the exact same spot.
Yeah. Also, Yuuji and Sheiden have a history together. It's been mostly in Tier 2, but you can see they've played a good number of games against each other. And interestingly enough, it is Sheiden who would have the head-to-head matchup.
Yeah, so I talked to Sheiden in makeup this morning when all the players were getting ready. And I'm just so curious since the TL is doing this jungle swap. I was like, okay, so who's easier to play against?
Okay.
And he was like, yeah, Yuuji for sure, because he's more predictable. Everyone seems to give similar answers when they're talking about the two, and always mention, Yuuji farms and is more predictable, and Umpty does create a lot of volatility from,
Makes you uncomfortable.
Yeah. And again, the history between these two, yes, it's slightly Sheiden favored, but both of their names are always in the conversation. And Yuuji, I mean, he won back-to-back most valuable prospect for a reason in NACL. We just felt like he was the more impactful player when it came to what he was doing for his teams. And I think the same can be said for Yuuji. He's got experience against Sheiden. So of all junglers to go up against here in Tier 1 in playoffs, should be one of the ones that he should have some experience with.
Yeah, next strike is up, though, and you can see Dig devoting a lot of resources to getting the mid push and trying to take control of River, but there's you can't start this too quickly because Team Liquid have complete bot prio here, and CoreJJ also sweeping the River. So Dignitas just hasn't been able to set up first on any of these objectives.
Yeah, I mean, every single lane has just been shoved in, even Impact in this top lane. Srtty has to answer that now. Yeah, that is tough to see here. No item completed yet on Srtty, so I wonder if we're in a world where maybe Dignitas just don't contest another dragon. We'll see.
I mean, they have Nashers on the Azir, but that's about the only item. Yuuji can easily bully out Sheiden because Shaiden's just sitting on a couple of belts.
Yeah.
It's a little tricky, though. If they did hard commit start the Drake, then maybe they'd be vulnerable for a fight. But look at that tempo they have bottom lane and the path that Isles would have to take. So I think Team Liquid just get this one uncontested.
Yeah, looking very good for TL. Nicely controlled early pace for them.
Yeah.
Dignitas here going to have to choose their moment wisely to get back into this because the Ornn outpacing that you're talking about, Keine Rookern finished very early for impact, so he's going to be able to use that. You go for your trades, they burn through the shield, then you back off, you can get your shield back type of thing, and you will always be so useful to the team in team fights. Srtty is just hoping he can get to this point where Gwen, with the Riftmaker, with the Conqueror and stuff, can start to rip through on side lanes. But TL, since they have so many objectives, you just keep forcing objectives, and you just keep forcing these fights.
And also, I think the Skarner, while Dig needed frontline, it's such a low damage jungler that the magic resist stack from the Ornn just becomes so much more powerful. They need to bring Tomo if they want a chance of killing Impact, which just ruins their
still got
pressure.
stunned up right there. Has to use Emperor's Divide. One becomes lightning landed. Flash over the wall. Keine gets out of there, but that's a teleport in. Dignitas are now looking to commit to the fight, but Srtty goes straight into 3 members of Team Liquid. Has to regroup with the rest of the team. Yuuji taking a lot of damage here. Srtty has not gone down yet. The bailout used, but it's not enough. Yuuji goes down. Flash over the wall from Srtty. He gets separated from the rest of the team as Dignitas do find one, but I think they will sacrifice their top laner for this. Mission gets Srtty out.
He might get out.
Over the wall. Impact's right there, but do they have the damage? Now Yeon's looking to chase it as well. Knock up from Impact. APA with the kill.
He's skipping all over the rift, over the wall, back over the wall. In the end, does go down. They had to invest a teleport in. This is TL going pretty far on this reach for the pick.
Yeah, absolutely. I think once Keine dashed over the wall, the flash commit from Yuuji ended up being a bit much. Still having flash right there makes it very difficult to finish the kill on Azir, and then because he's flashless, the dig collapse ends up being very strong.
Nice Weaver's Wall to kind of block their retreat path as well. Seemed like they might be able to pincer even more, but Srtty is just kind of the magnet.
Yeah, push mid and bot, guys. We're chilling. Push mid and bot.
Yeah, in the end,
Chilling.
We'll see though, because I don't know if Srtty will be chilling. He used his flash, he used his flash in his little skip moment over there, running around, trying to evade, and ended up still going down. So TL in a pretty strong spot still.
At least he's got that first item, so he has completed that. And I also want to say to that comms check that we had for Sheiden, that was actually something I was brought up. We'll get to that later, actually, because instead, Yeon versus Cloud9, he actually had an incredible performance despite the 0-3. Don't let that shake your opinion. Jatt, you had this guy first team All-Pro for a reason.
I mean, when you're up 420 gold to 14, but your team is down 1,200 gold, you're definitely outperforming the expectations of how your team is doing. So he played very well in that series. The team was just not patient enough around him.
Yeah.
And now we're actually in a situation where the game is quite close. I kind of agree with Sheiden, and I loved how calm he was in that last look-in that we got with how they're willing to wait and take the right fight.
I would be a little bit more pressed if I was on their team, just because I'm worried about Taliyah at the moment.
Yeah?
Okay.
APA could have a very big game.
Yeah.
We did mention Srtty has no flash at the moment, so he's actually getting pushed in by the Ornn. And we'll see if APA is going to be able to have a big wall. Taliyah is definitely a champion that he has prided himself on, having a very big influence on, but also has had some games where he's blundered, so not a guarantee.
Sometimes it's about the vibes, Kobe. You just got to calm everyone down. You're saying it's okay. It doesn't matter if it is okay or not. Isles, part of what I was talking with him ahead of the match as well, I was saying, what's the spark on this team? Who's really the one leading the charge? And he actually gave a lot of credit to Sheiden for mental in-game and being an in-game leader. So I think it's cool to see that type of check-in as well.
Another thing I want to track here is which player will build Bloodletter's Curse. because they're kind of running triple AP with Gwen, Azir, and Rumble. I've seen Chovy, when they're running double AP comps on Ahri, build Bloodletter's Curse the last 2 games. So I feel like any of the Rumble, Azir, or Gwen could fit it in, and it would really help them in team fights.
100% agree. That thing, after the recent buffs, it is so good. That thing
it's
is
void staff for everyone.
Insanely efficient. Here goes the wall.
Weaver's wall into the mid lane here. Tomo gets over, but Isles does not, has to flash away from the seismic shove. So TL try and make a play. Dignitas absorb it, but the Herald has been dropped, so it looks like the play will continue.
And they should be able to chain this mid tower into control for the Dragon. We're only 25 seconds away from the Dragon.
Another tower, maybe. No, they're just going to back off.
Didn't want to ride that one in, but Dignitas will catch it now. And Srtty actually just took the blast cone. Jumps away. No flash, remember, on this Gwen.
I mean, looking at items, everyone's sitting on their first core item except for the support, so it's a pretty even fight. This makes sense that Dig wants to contest this, but they just don't have a great entry point to deliver.
And Chain of Corruption just missed from Tomo.
That hurts.
Yeah, and if you're going through the jungle versus an Ornn, it makes it so easy for the Ornn to just line up really big ults. Impact could be huge here.
This would be Team Liquid's 3rd Dragon. They shove back in Sheiden. He's taking a lot of damage. Call the Forge God thrown. Sheiden knocked up again. Still survives. APA taking some chunk from Keine on the side here, but Team Liquid still focused on the Dragon.
High value seismic shoves from APA.
Yeah.
And then again, they keep their Dragon stacking going here for TL, so still all according to plan for them.
Yeah, I don't know if Dig is still chilling, but being against Soul Point definitely hurts. But at the same time, like, they just haven't had any of these fights. Like, we could criticize them for not taking them. They haven't had the ability to take these fights because Team Liquid has had the setup. They're the ones poking Dignitas out first.
I mean, we might fight for bot turret right now. Srtty throws out the needlework, trying to get onto Yeon, slow him down. Impact is there, so is CoreJJ. And Team Liquid will stop the play.
Yeah, we thought maybe Azir would be teleporting in a little bit more aggressively for some type of flank, but they just didn't have any vision any deeper for the TP to happen, and I think Team Liquid is just going to take this turret now in the next wave.
Team Liquid have been doing this. They've been grouping up not just for the Dragons, but for every little objective, whether it's a scuttle, whether it's a turret. They will make sure that they do not get collapsed on. So they find themselves Dragon Soul Point up a little bit of gold as well. But if you're enjoying the action right now and want to watch finals with the crowd, but you're not in LA, make sure that you check it out because LTA North is partnering up with Real Cinemas to bring the finals to the big screen. Scan the QR code on your screen to get tickets today as APA and Keine scrapping it out a little bit here in the top lane. Nobody's going to go down.
Just trading egos in the top lane with no one actually having
trading egos with APA? That's dangerous.
It is dangerous. I mean, Kaine's up 20 CS. That's really interesting watching the way this whole game is played out because APA is the stronger one, getting the 2 kills, getting the first gank off with Yuuji running mid lane at level 6. But Kaine's really been able to keep his farm up and catch a lot of sideways.
Seems to be the, I mean, we set it up to look at Srtty, follow the Gwen in the side lanes, but early game it has been more about Keine and the action happening around that Azir.
Ooh, the buffed up Horizon focus
speaking of, ooh, nice handshake from CoreJJ, denying the Emperor's Divide from Keine.
Yeah, 20 minutes means Otacon will be spawning. Dignitas slowly losing control of this map, though. Losing all 3 outer turrets, still not getting any of them down. So Team Liquid was just trying to creep their vision up further and further. The engage for Dignitas is really tricky. Like, it kind of needs to be that Varusalt. You've called out a few of them missing, but it's pretty hard to just land a Varusalt just out of nowhere when you don't have vision control and you don't have any tanks that are going in to set it up. So I think that's why Dignitas is getting bullied around a little bit, is because they just have pretty poor initial engage on these team fights.
Yeah, it's really getting tough for them. So this next 2.5 minutes, the pressure is certainly cooking because also, with the feats of strength, we already see APA being able to upgrade his boots. It's so efficient now. With the cost reduction, plus he's using the cost reduction on Horizon Focus, which also got buffed on this patch. I just feel like he already has his individual lead, plus he's using some of these really recent efficiency bonuses changed to the team, and so you've got a fairly strong 2-item power spike
really
Taliyah.
I mean, talk about also difficulty of finding the engage. We'll get back to that, though, because Weaver's Wall again from APA. He is hit by the Chain of Corruption, but in comes Impact. Tomo now caught out of position as Yuuji looking for him, but Sheiden playing goalie. Tomo, everyone's trying to keep him alive, but APA still finds the flank. Pulls it back in, and Impact dives forward. Tomo goes down. Everything used to kill the carry. Team Liquid will find their man.
Wow, they really went ring around the rosy here and chased him all the way down. Both sums from Tomo down. And they actually finally find the kill with the full chase. They even get a flash on the way out from Sheiden, so there's no hope of any sort of Dragon Steel coming through net. I mean, well, there you can have some hope, but it's going to be even more difficult.
And this is 90 seconds before the objective happens. APA is making this play because he knows he's strong. He's sitting on those 2 items and the upgraded boots, and they can just group 5 people mid very quickly. Once they get the flash from Tomo, they know they can just continue to commit resources. The very last pixel of that seismic shove lines up the kill for Impact to dash through.
And he ran over by the train conductor.
Yeah.
Not even the train itself.
The longer this game goes, the better it is for us, so.
Okay, so still...
If they can put a stop to the bleeding.
It's about mental. It's about mental.
It's important to have a feeling that your team composition is going to outscale, but this Drake is going to outscale for Team Liquid. If they're going to do something, they need to really overload a lane to at least get some type of tempo, whether that's overloading bot or overloading mid. Right now, it looks like they're trying to send as many people down mid as possible, but once that's matched with TP, they're not going to be able to get prio through this mid lane.
And I gotta say, Srtty has not hit that 2 items yet. We were saying, you know, Riftmaker is the most important, but that second item is when you can really start being a pain point here on the Gwen. I don't think he'll have it here for the Dragon, as Dignitas will fight for mid lane priority. Trying to shove it down here, but they can't even stay on the wave right now.
Yeah,
will get pushed in.
Srtty's going to base in TP back onto the bottom wave, so he's going to try and flank. But now it's a 4v5.
Another Weaver's Wall. They're focused in onto Keine right now. The Azir's in trouble, has to flash away. Call the Forge God lands. Everything on to the Azir. Keine will fall, and Team Liquid find a pick before the Dragon.
Just really nicely set up again. You know, they have priority over the objective area. They use the wall to cut him off. Srtty here is hoping for some magic, some miracle sort of, you know, possible play for them, but I just don't see it.
I mean, the way they layered those ults, APA blocking the path, then the hostile takeover from Core, locking them in place, everything committed. They don't need to win a big fight. If you kill Keine, there's no contest. That's Dragon Soul earned for Team Liquid.
Yeah, last week when Team Liquid lost to Cloud9, as they might end up finding a pick onto Srtty here, we were blaming their lack of discipline or maybe even playing a little bit nervous or hasty.
Okay.
That's not the case against this Dignitas team. They have been very disciplined. They're taking the small wins as they come, and they accumulate into a large advantage. So they had the double crabs early. They get that first Drake. That turns into the second Drake. It's just been a very slow but steady Soul here, and now it's a massive lead.
But Yeon and Impact both just missed that cannon. So
I didn't know if we were going to bring it up. I did see that.
Okay.
Right as Jatt was praising them.
Well,
-1.
Yeah. But I will say specifically APA having a much better look so far against Dignitas. As speaking of, did we just
no
curse
flash,
him?
no flash.
Stunned into the wall, no escape, but he's not taking that much damage. Bailout used from CoreJJ, but there's just no way a kill's coming through. APA picked, shut down. Srtty now in some trouble here. Team Liquid look to find their own pick, but Srtty gets back to the rest of the team. Needlework to buy some space. Impact jumping back towards CoreJJ as Yeon actually goes forward right now, dancing around. Sheiden can't get the Ixal's Impact into the wall, and that's a lot of rend stacks from Yeon. That's a lot of damage! And Sheiden will go down despite the impale. Kaine's trying to bail out, jump out of the fight. Dignitas find one, and then they crumble. Team Liquid on the Baron.
and look at the worm spawning exactly at 25 minutes. It lines up perfectly for Team Liquid. APA would type something in all chat if everyone didn't have him muted, because they absolutely win the game off of that pick.
Yeah, you can tell Kaine's like, all right, I'm out of here. Teleport down to the bottom side. Maybe I'll be able to get one tower. He's trying to work towards that tower objective bounty, but TL will be happy.
And the Otagon. Oh,
Do you
my
think
goodness.
we'll get a mic check in here soon of somebody from Dignitas saying it's okay, just self-port bot, push the wave in. It's going to be fine. As even APA is trying to find his own solo kill down there. Baron into Otacon, and Dignitas can't even get a turret. Yeah, this is looking like a pretty unwinnable game from Dignitas' side, but from Team Liquid, it is definitely the look that we want to see from them. They dropped into lower bracket, but I think they were pretty upset about that.
Honestly, though, Dig getting this, like, this is the ideal pick to get APA and get that Taliyah danger off of the field.
Yeah.
Then they run into a little bit of a problem because they did want to keep chasing on CoreJJ, and Srtty here walks right over towards Yeon and Yuuji. And Yeon is not letting them get away with it.
Yeon just outplays him here as Sheiden is trying to get a slam into the wall. Dig didn't burn many ultimates to kill APA, so they wanted to take the 4v5, but he just absolutely dodges anything. It's pretty, for a good Kalista player, you're really forcing it if you're trying to dash on him with Skarner there. Once he gets on Tomo, he's got his Rage Blade fully stacked up. He's got the Ornn upgraded Blade of the Rune King. He's just an unstoppable Kalista.
But that's why Yeon is the Kalista player here. I don't know many AD carries that would go forward in a situation like that, have the confidence when you're against a Skarner with the ultimate to say, no, I will just outplay. And Yeon doing just that. Now 2-0-3 as Liquid get another turret.
Yeah, I mean, and we should really just re-highlight how important Baron is for this team since they are fairly short range. They go for another Taliyah wall play to try and cut someone off. Don't quite catch anyone this time around, but again, they still have the Baron buff to siege with.
Yeah, and Dignitas, they're going to have to try their best to hold this turret, but also the bot side shoving in means that they just don't really have an angle to fight through.
Yeah, and the other reason Baron will be so important for them is because the engage is so bad for Dignitas, it's much safer to split up and actually run like 4-1, 3-2s just because the engage is so slow or unreliable for Dig, so they can get Baron waves in both mid and bot here and probably pretty easily break both of these inhibitors.
So looking like that bottom inhibitor will fall any moment now. As Dignitas, like you said, really the only engage, unless Keine wants to throw his body in there, is that Chain of Corruption. Tomo is going to have to find a big one here, as they do actually find impact a little bit. Some chunk onto him, but Team Liquid have already taken the one inhibitor and shoved in another wave, meaning the Dignitas have to back off, clear that wave down. And it's just a slow bleed from this position.
Yeah.
Team Liquid are playing this very very
Yeah, this game was likely over at the Hextech Seoul, but Yeon is trying to make sure it's over.
Woo! Just disgusting gameplay on our screen right there. He takes a solo kill very far in enemy territory. As now there's no territory for Dignitas.
Oh, Yuuji!
But the big shuffle. Everyone's in the bounty. Yuuji makes it to the fountain. Yuuji goes down. Team Liquid, does this stop the assault? I don't think so. They still have full health bar in APA. Yeon focused on the next as Team Liquid make quick work of game number 1.